A lot of people tend to think when you run a business, you're just in it for the money. And I can tell you that is not why I'm in this business. When you come across businesses or a health expert somewhere and you don't really know their backstory or why they do what they do, I hope this gives you a better understanding of why that is for me. And I started these businesses out of a personal need and desire to be there for my kids. And then I turned this into my passion and mission because I have a mother with osteoporosis. I've seen the impact of fractures in people who are 50, 60, 70 plus, and just had thousands of these conversations over the years where people are just concerned that they're not going to be there for their kids or their grandkids, or the life that they work so hard to achieve, they're not going to experience those things. And so that is my main driving force behind all of this. So I just continue to reinvest in moving this entire bone health and osteoporosis space forward in a positive direction. There is nothing else out there like this. It's not just a coaching program. It's not just supplements. It's not just testing. It is an ecosystem. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It's a little red button. You punch that, and it's going to notify you every time we put out a new episode that can help you improve your bone health. And then also, if you haven't done so already, head over to bonecoach.com, sign up for the free 7-day osteoporosis kickstart. That's going to walk you through everything you need to be doing right now to get on the path to improvement and stronger bones. After you do those two things, go ahead and press play on this episode, and I'll see you inside. Welcome to this episode. I'm Kevin Ellis, CEO, founder, and bone coach of the Stronger Bones companies. And today, for this episode of the BoneCoach Show, I thought I'd do something a little special and unique. I'm going to go through what the Stronger Bones companies are, which include BoneCoach, bonecoach.com, Healthy Bones Co., and healthybonesco.com, and OsteoIQ, osteoiq.com. These are 3 trusted platforms helping people all over the world with osteopenia and osteoporosis stay strong, stay active, and independent long into the future. At this point, our community has grown to almost 300,000 people. It is backed by a team of MDs, PhDs, physical therapists, nutritionists, functional health experts, all focused on osteoporosis reversal and prevention. It is home to the most comprehensive Stronger Bones ecosystem available today. And all of this started from my own journey and my own personal health, where I had bone loss that came from celiac disease. I had to figure out my own personal health journey. And I did it primarily because my father had passed away at a really young age. And I didn't want to leave my kids in a position where they would grow up without a father like I did. And I had a very strong impetus for change and improvements. And I took my own personal health journey and turned it into my personal mission to make sure that people all over the world don't have to go through this. And if we can, prevent it, prevent the bone loss, prevent the fractures, so we can all lead long, strong, active lives into the future. And so what started about 6 years ago at the time of this recording was BoneCoach. And this was a coaching company. It's where we've got expert coaching, a program called the Stronger Bone Solution. And the whole focus of these programs are helping people build stronger bones, prevent fracture and injury, and win the fight against osteoporosis. We take an evidence-based approach. The programs are Forbes featured, doctor recommended, world-renowned programs with expert guidance, compassionate support. And that is why bonecoach.com was established, really to help people with osteoporosis and osteopenia move from a fear of fractures to a place of education, empowerment, confidence in their Stronger Bones plan. Because a lot of times what happens is people establish this driver-passenger relationship with their doctors where they put all their faith in their doctor. They don't really take the time to get the education that they need. And that doctor, as helpful as they might be, as much as they might know about bone metabolism and diagnostics, and we just have to understand that the recommendation they have at the end of that conversation is a pharmaceutical. They are limited within the system that they're in. So it's not to fault the doctor, because a lot of times the doctors genuinely want to see their patients get better. but the system is not designed to fully help you achieve your best possible health outcome. It's driven by insurance. And the standard recommendation that most people will get is to take calcium, take vitamin D, go for a walk, go get this thing from the pharmacy that may or may not actually help you. And we'll see you in 2 years for your next bone density scan. That is woefully inadequate. There's so much more that we need to be doing. And that's what bonecoach.com does, is helps people figure out where to start, pull together all the information they need to in a structured step-by-step process and plan. So instead of having a bunch of tactical pieces of information out there of maybe I should eat prunes and maybe I should do some osteogenic loading and maybe I should incorporate this vibration plate, and instead of taking all those tactical pieces and trying to make sense of what to do, we take a structured step-by-step approach where we help you identify and address the root cause issues contributing to bone loss. We'll help you understand if you're actively losing bone right now, what's causing and contributing to that bone loss. And I always tell people, you can't start going up and improving if you're still going down and losing. So that is the very first step and starting point that we have, is identifying. The second step that we walk people through is nourishing your body, taking in the right nutrients in the right amounts, actually absorbing those nutrients, making sure those nutrients make it to the cell level. A lot of times, even if people are eating healthy, you might not be hitting layer 1 and getting the right nutrients. Or if they are getting a lot of the right nutrients, they might have digestive issues, bloating, belching, burping, gas, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, loose stools. If those things are going on and they're a chronic thing, absorption can certainly be an issue. So we have to get that center part figured out, that nourish, and crafting a bone healthy, gut friendly diet, proper supplementation with the right nutrients. And that's where the second company comes in just a minute. But that's really the second step in this process for building stronger bones. And the third step is building strength of body, mind, and bone in a way that prevents fracture and injury, reducing the stress, improving the sleep, optimizing the hormones, getting the right exercise plan in place, providing the stimulus the bones need to become stronger in a way that prevents fracture and injury. And so we take all of that information, turn it into a step-by-step structured plan, give you support, access, community wrapped around it. And that has gone on to help thousands and thousands of people at this point. And a lot of these people, there are no quick fixes and magic cures. I'll be very clear about that. But a lot of people go on to finally see stabilization and prevention of bone loss. A lot of people go on to improve their bone density, their bone quality, their bone strength, or improve other leading indicators of bone health success like bone turnover. So if that sounds helpful for you, you can always pause this, come right back to it in just a minute. Pause this, head over to bonecoach.com. You can submit an application to get help from our team. There's low-cost membership. There's full programs that you can do and get a step-by-step Stronger Bones plan today. So that's the first company within these Stronger Bones companies. The second company is called Healthy Bones Co. And at the time of this recording, I actually created this company about 3 years ago. And initially, when I created this company, Healthy Bones Co., I had reservations around creating a supplement company because we started as a coaching company and we helped thousands of people. And what we used to do is we used to just send people to Amazon or to other places to get supplements and nutrients. And what we found is people were getting counterfeit products. They weren't getting the things that they needed. And that was affecting results and client outcomes too. So I was trying to think through, like, how can we actually affect the outcome better? And part of the way to do that was to control that process by creating a supplement company to help support that. And by doing that, I was able to actually leverage relationships with researchers and bone health experts and other people in the health space to really formulate professional grade supplements for stronger bone support. So that is what Healthy Bones Co. That's how Healthy Bones Co. was born. It was to create premium research-backed supplements to support bone density, bone quality, bone strength, and living longer and stronger. And so that company has thousands and thousands of customers. And the different products that are offered over at healthybonesco.com are some of the essentials, like highly absorbable forms of magnesium. There is a D3 with full spectrum K2 and K1. So full spectrum meaning it's got K2MK7 and K2MK4. There aren't extra nasty additives and fillers and things like that. These are clean, pure, premium formulations. And then there's some formulas that have really great research behind them. So randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trials, gold standard of studies we want to see in the ingredients that we're taking. Anatral bone support is one of the most popular ones that we have. That is a combination of delta and gamma tocotrienols, which are a specific form of vitamin E that has great studies showing support for bone, lipid balance, healthy cholesterol levels, glycemic control, liver support, reduction in inflammatory markers, so a healthy inflammatory response, and so much more. And then there's also, it also is combined with geranyldranol. We call that GG. And GG is a precursor to CoQ10, which is important for energy, and also vitamin K2, MK4. So the combination of those can be a phenomenal addition to a Stronger Bones plan. And there's a reason why when people start with that, they'll start with about a 3 month. 3 months is what the studies show is going to be most helpful as a good starting point, but the improvements can continue on from there. So that's a phenomenal addition. There's a product called OsteoFrax that is a combination of D3, K2, Dalbergia Cisso, and Cissus quadrangularis. I know you might never have heard of some of those, especially the botanicals I mentioned at the end, but there are great studies behind those patented botanicals that have research supporting speeding of fracture healing, fracture recovery, bone regeneration. So I really look at partnering with researchers and finding people who have great knowledge around these topics. And we sit down and we create formulations to actually help improve bone markers that people are looking to have improvements in our programs. And then finally, one of the other most popular ones that we have is Healthy Bones Co-Collagen Peptides. It's not your average collagen. It contains 4 patented bioactive collagen peptides that are not just providing amino acids, they're acting as signaling molecules in the body to help with bones, joints, skin, hair, nails, wrinkles, tendons, ligaments, support, all those things. So those are all phenomenal products, and you can find those at healthybonesco.com. So that was the second company that was created. And then the third company was created about just over a year ago, and that is called OsteoIQ. And OsteoIQ is the first ever bone health intelligence platform that is focused exclusively on bone loss and osteoporosis testing, intelligence, and insights. Right now, the way that the current medical model is set up as it relates to bone density is you hit a certain point in your life, your doctor says, let's get a bone density scan. That might not be till you're 65, which I believe is way too late anyway. We should be getting these things earlier, getting objective markers and measurements from which to monitor future changes much earlier. So for bone density and bone quality, I love to see people getting those around 30 years old, 40 years old. Get a baseline around the time that you are hitting your peak bone mass, and then you can see what was your starting point, and then you can monitor changes from there. But a lot of people don't get those. And so bone density and bone quality are really lagging indicators of success. They're telling you the impact of the things you've done for a given period of time. And usually that period of time is about 1 to 2 years. Who wants to hope and pray for 1 to 2 years that you're doing the right things in your bone health plan? Because you're investing your time, you're putting a lot of faith in what you're doing, you're investing your hard-earned money, whether it's in supplements or exercise routines or programs. We need some near-term feedback. And there are these things called bone turnover markers, CTX and P1NP. And what I found over the years is that a lot of people would go to their doctors and ask for these bone turnover markers. And if they went to a primary care or a general practitioner, that doctor might not order them because they wouldn't understand the interpretation of a test. And so they would say, oh, I'm going to refer you out to endocrinology or rheumatology. And they would send their patient to get an appointment with this doctor. And they might wait 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year I've even heard a 1.5 year long wait to get into a bone health specialist at an osteoporosis clinic. And what that's doing is just wasting time. And so I noticed how hard it was for people to get these bone turnover markers done. And even if their doctors would order them, they would only order them once a year. And we want to use them because we can see improvements in these markers in 8 weeks to 3 months. We want to see those markers sooner and more frequently if we can. So that I created OsteoIQ so people could go outside of the medical model to get these tests done, get the results in 5 to 7 days, and have those results pull into this OsteoIQ Insights portal, which is basically, OsteoIQ is focused on shifting this model from being reactive to preventative and getting from a point where we are, again, reactive to where it's predictive, to where I know where I am today. If I pull these levers and do these specific things based on this entire group of people, it's the largest collection of people making improvements in their bone health, monitoring these markers and seeing improvements in these markers. There's nowhere else in the world that is doing this like OsteoIQ. Hey, it's Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I want to take one more minute to talk about if you are somebody who was newly diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, and you're at a point where you're stressed, you're worried, you're overwhelmed, you have no idea where to start or how to get started getting confident in your plan. I want to tell you about the Stronger Bone Solution Program. Over 5,000 people have come through the Stronger Bone Solution Program, and it walks you through the exact process you need to fill in the missing pieces, uncover critical things in your plan that you may not be aware of, and help you make modifications, adjustments, and tweaks to get you to the place where you're building stronger bones. I want you to get confident in your plan so that you can focus on living life and enjoying the life that you deserve with the people you love most. So if that's where you want to be, head over to bonecoach.com/apply and apply for our Stronger Bone Solution Program right now. I'm Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I want to see you inside this program. I want to help you get on the path to improvement and stronger bones. Hope to see you inside very soon. Let's get back to the episode. And so that is one reason why I encourage people, go to osteoiq.com, get the test called the OsteoIQ Active Monitoring Test, and that will give you your CTX and P1NP, and that will allow you to get them every 3 months or 6 months. And that data is going to be centralized in a place where you're going to have your entire bone health picture in one place. And it's going to help you eventually, the way OsteoIQ is moving. We're placing a significant amount of investment in this right now, is getting to the point where you can be predictive. These are my results. If I do these things, this is the likelihood I'm going to achieve this result. So, a lot of what I do in this space, sometimes I'll do advertising on different platforms and things like that. And some people, if they're not familiar with, someone in the health space or someone on the internet that they just come across, or even on a podcast that they just come across for the first time, and you don't know me from somebody who you genuinely know and trust for a long time, a lot of people tend to think, oh, well, when you run a business, people are just in it for the money. And I can tell you that is not why I'm in this business. I started these businesses out of a personal need and a personal desire to be there for my kids. And then I turned this into my passion and mission because I have a mother with osteoporosis. I have family members who are affected by osteoporosis. I've seen the impact of fractures in people who are 50, 60, 70 plus, and just had thousands and thousands of these conversations over the years where people are just concerned that they're not going to be there for their kids or their grandkids, or that, the life that they work so hard to achieve, they're not going to be able to travel and experience those things. And so that is my main driving force behind all of this. So a lot of what we do is I just continue to reinvest in moving this entire bone health and osteoporosis space forward in a positive direction. There is nothing else out there like this, where, it's not just a coaching program. It's not just supplements. It's not just testing. It is an ecosystem. It's designed to be a place where you can come, you get a plan, you get the nutrients that you need, and you get feedback on if the things you're doing are the right things, objective, near-term feedback that helps you understand if you're moving in the right direction. And so as the years continue to progress, you will see me continue to invest in the Stronger Bones companies, focused on premium formulations, high quality supplements that have good quality research behind them. So if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, there are some great products out, there are a variety of different products out in the bone health space, but a lot of those companies, they might cut corners because they're not genuinely looking out for you, or they might not be personally taking these supplements themselves, which I do. I give these supplements to myself, my family, my loved ones, my friends. So it has to be good enough for me first. And then the other part of this is the testing side and the intelligence side. This I really see is the future of bone health. Is we don't need to be reactive. Our kids don't need to grow up and be in a position where they're trying to figure out how to reverse this bone loss and that they're worried about their futures. I want people to be able to build strong, healthy foundations from the beginning. And I'm creating the tools and resources and companies to do that. So if you feel called to support these companies, just know that you're not just doing something to support yourself. Part of what we do is we also tie our businesses to philanthropy. And so my dedication to philanthropy has started from a young age. When my father passed away, my mother, she took on a really strong role in my life, and she had to set an example for, two young boys and a little girl. And one of the things that she used to do was volunteer for dog rescue. And we had some rescue dogs that came through our house. I learned that fostering is really just delayed adoption, but it was really her care and love for rescue dogs and animals that set that foundation for me of what it looks like to be a good human and really a life of service. And, I actually remember one of the other things as I was growing up, it was right around the holidays, and there was a family that she knew that was struggling. And I remember I was in the car and she put together this gift basket for them. And she didn't tell me really what was going on at the time, but she had put together the gift basket. I was in the car and she asked me to go put it on the doorstep. And I didn't find out until later that it was just a person who was having a really hard time and she just wanted to do something nice for him. And, I kind of follow that example now. And I just know that I'm looking out for you, just like my mother looked out for other people too. So the businesses, there are really three arms of philanthropy that we support. The first one is providing nutrients and nourishment for hungry, developing kids. So there are different organizations that we support for this. One of them that we've provided support for is No Kid Hungry, but there are other ones as well. And then Forever Homes for Rescue Dogs. I just shared about my mother and her example of bringing rescue dogs into our home. We have done that in my home too, as I've grown older. And then I did a lot of volunteer rescue work at the ASPCA, different rescue dog organizations, and then even at wildlife rescue centers as I was growing up. So just know that it is important to me to try to prevent dogs from getting put into kill shelters and being euthanized. We support those efforts quite a bit. And then the third arm of philanthropy is called Mentor a Million. And this is really, I know I do bones and that's how I support people. And I'm really good at that. And I have a whole team focused on being really good at that. But I feel like the reason I'm really here is to be a mentor to kids. And so because I lost my father at a young age, I didn't have a strong male role model, or at least one that I felt was, I had a lot of people in my life who wanted to bring me close or to try to help guide me along the way. But I always felt like an outsider looking in. And I didn't feel like I just had that one person who was teaching me, other than my mother, who was a phenomenal role model, but I didn't have a strong male figure teaching me values, morals, how to be a good, kind, contributing member to society. And I want to be that person for kids. So I created Mentor Million, which initially is for me to help guide parents and grandparents on how to be better, how to show up better, be better role models for their kids. And that will also include me being a mentor to 1 million kids. But the focus of this is to get to a point where I'm not the face of that. I am not the mentor to 1 million. It's to create and develop mentors who then go on to mentor millions of kids. So the impact lives far beyond me, even after I'm gone. And I really feel like that is my true purpose here. So I hope you have a better understanding now, of when you come across businesses on the internet or on a podcast or anywhere, or a health expert somewhere, and you don't really know their backstory or why they created their businesses or why they do what they do. I hope this gives you a better understanding of why that is for me. And so I just want to give a quick summary here. Hey, it's BoneCoach Kevin Ellis. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the BoneCoach Show. If you're finding it helpful, please leave a positive rating and review. Hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast or the channel. That lets us help more people and reach and serve more people. And it also lets us know that this is helpful to you on your journey to better health and stronger bones. And then also, right down in the show notes, you can actually find a link to my free Bone Healthy Recipes Guide. That's going to give you access to some amazing and delicious recipes to support your journey to stronger bones. And then also, we have a link to my free Stronger Bones Masterclass in the show notes too. And that is the 3-step process that has helped people in over 1,500 cities around the world get confident in their plan for stronger bones. Over 110,000 people have taken part in this, and it's been really, really helpful for them. And I want you to have free access to it too. So add your name and email right down there in the show notes, get access to that free Stronger Bones Masterclass, and let's get you confident in your Stronger Bones plan today. If you are diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, or you know somebody who has been, there are resources available to you right now to help you get on the right path for stronger bones and an active future. You can get a step-by-step Stronger Bones plan and even free resources. There are paid Stronger Bones plans, paid low-cost membership, but there's also free resources over at bonecoach.com. So you can always go over to bonecoach.com and start there. If you are looking for professional grade supplements for stronger bone support, go to healthybonesco.com. You can find everything you need there to help support stronger, healthier bones. And at least you know now too, these are BoneCoach approved products. These are products I recommend to our community of almost 300,000 people at this point. I personally take a lot of these supplements. My kids take some of these, my own mother, my friends, my family. I send these as gifts to people. So this is important to me. These are not just products that I want to sell to make money from. These are things that I genuinely care about what goes into them. I take them for my own health, and I want you to feel confident and comfortable in them as well. So healthybonesco.com is where you can find those. And then OsteoIQ.com. Right now, the primary things that are available there are getting testing done outside of your doctors, specifically bone turnover marker testing. So the tests there are called the OsteoIQ Active Monitoring Test, and that contains an active bone loss test and a bone builder test inside of it. And what you do is you just go there, you pay for it through OsteoIQ, you select whether you want to go to LabCorp or Quest, you go get your test, you get the results in 5 to 7 days. The result shows up in your OsteoIQ portal, where really in the very near future, there will be an entire beautiful dashboard with phenomenal reporting, a step-by-step plan inside that portal based on your results on what to do. So I encourage people, go to OsteoIQ. You're going to spend less time waiting for your doctor. Your doctor won't order those tests as frequently as you want, and they might not even order them at all. So don't waste time. Find out if you're winning or losing the fight against bone loss. Get that OsteoIQ active monitoring test. There's also bone health genetic testing at osteoiq.com. I'd say if you're picking between the two, get the active monitoring test first and your bone turnover markers first. And then if you have the discretionary budget to do that, you can certainly do genetic testing after that. But that's a great place to start. And then there are other panels. There are foundational lab panels. There are secondary panels, secondary causes of bone loss panels to help you really understand where you're at, have some objective measurements from which to monitor future changes. So that's OsteoIQ. And again, I'm Kevin Ellis. Most people know me as BoneCoach. If you made it this far, you probably know that by now, but just know I'm here looking out for you. I genuinely care about where you are in your journey and where you end up. And I want to see you strong, active, healthy, doing all the things with your kids and your grandkids in the future. So if you want to get stronger with our community together and you want an active future and peace of mind that you're doing the right things, check out the Stronger Bones companies today. We'll see you soon. Hey, it's BoneCoach Kevin Ellis. Hope you found that episode helpful and that you enjoyed it. Just one last reminder, if you haven't done so already, head over to bonecoach.com, sign up for your free 7-day osteoporosis kickstart. It's going to tell you everything you need to do to start getting on the path to improvement. Hope you found this helpful. I'm your BoneCoach Kevin Ellis. I'll see you soon.